Welcome to Minds on Media.
I'm Brenda Sherry from Upper Grand District School Board, and I've been a classroom teacher for 20 years and a tech coach for the past 4.
I'm Peter Skillen, and I have been an educator since 1970. In fact, I taught grade 1 pre-Velcro, and I've used computers with kids since 1978.
So why did we create this Minds On approach?
We believe that just as we need to differentiate for our students, teachers need to be in the driver's seat for their own learning. We wish to elicit and frame a change in our perspectives, our beliefs, our knowledge, our skills, and our approach to both learning and teaching by both teacher and student. In fact, everyone. Times are different. We now have instant multimedia communication, consumption, and creation across vast distances. In this participatory culture, none of us is fully literate unless we are creating, not just consuming. Most educational curricula have wisely recognized this. In the 70s, I never thought I would use computers with kids. Too mechanistic. I asked myself, what can this computer do for me? Wrong question. The question should be, what can I do with this computer? You see, it's about the locus of control. These days, as most of our learning is informal, the learner needs to be in control. So I taught these grade 1s to do simple programming in BASIC. It was hard fun. They failed and they succeeded, and they wanted to struggle some more, just like video games. It was a social event. It was a happening. It was shared. They all had a stake in it, not just in what they did, but also in what the other kids did. Passionate collaboration.
This transmissive classroom of yesterday is changing as we encourage students to become more engaged in their own learning. We have the technology that can allow us to shift that teacher-focused classroom model to one that connects people together, encourages students to participate in the real world of learning, and allows our students to create and share their knowledge. Knowledge is emerging about how we collaborate in online networked communities. Clay Shirky identifies scaffolded stages of participation, starting with sharing and moving up to collective action. Online tools afford us easier ways to break down the walls of our classrooms and to participate as global citizens. Where are you in your participation online? Do you model your learning with your students? Seymour Papert mentions that it is such a shame that we put children in a classroom with an expert learner, but the students never get to see that person learn something new. The outcomes of the curriculum are always known to the teacher. Technology changes that game. Take a risk, try something new, learn together with your students. The TPAC framework comes from research evidence that putting technology in schools didn't necessarily lead to student learning. How you integrate technology matters. The tools cannot just be an add-on. The focus needs to be on the learning, and the sweet spot in the middle occurs when our teaching strategies, or pedagogy, our content, and our use of technology come together. When you hear the words 21st century skills, you may be thinking that these aren't really different than what you've always wanted for your students. In many respects, that may be true, but with the overwhelming amount of unfiltered information that comes at us, something else is needed. We are lucky in Ontario to have a curriculum that ensures that students will take a critical look at media from grades K to 12 and beyond, and Minds on Media will give you an opportunity to unpack this essential element of 21st century teaching and learning. Our Ministry of Education recognizes that students and teachers need to be both informed consumers and reflective creators of media.
We go through the world observing and interpreting, making decisions based on what we see and experience. But many of those observations and interpretations are wrong. Plain and simple, wrong. But we carry on as if we are right. In fact, we don't even know we are wrong, so we aren't aware that we have misread something. Is this a problem? You see, these tabletops are identical. Our brain circuitry is triggered to see the tables in 3 dimensions. How can kids be in charge of their own learning if they're not even aware of automatic and hidden errors? We must focus on helping kids learn to be mindful and critical, to be aware of their brains and how they work. This is even more important in this 21st century with the onslaught of media makers attempting to influence us. We need to be much more reflective. We need to develop those metacognitive skills. We must help students understand how their brains work and how these environments impact that. How do we learn differently? How do we read differently? Take charge. Be a critical and literate citizen.
We are smarter together than we are on our own. Try the shift to networked learning today. Try some of the new tools. Give yourself permission to play. Follow your passion and choose what interests you. Go deeply in one place or sample a variety. Learn with others.
Minds on Media allows you to take charge of your own learning in what may appear to be a messy and chaotic environment, a large room with lots of people actively and noisily engaged. You will work at the edge of your competence, where much significant learning occurs. You will be in the zone of proximal development, the state of flow. But unlike other workshops, you will determine your goals and your strategies. You will make choices and will be scaffolded by all present. You can expect to learn a great deal of content, but you can expect to manage your learning as well. It's that metacognitive leap that we need to nurture in our schools. It's not easier, but the destination is worth it.
The experience is a lot like the World Wide Web. You'll have the opportunity to network and connect with both learners and teachers, and with a mix of novices and experts. Some of you will enter with a plan for what you'd like to learn, but might follow another path in the end. Others of you might not know exactly what it is you want, but you'll spend some time looking around until you settle on your purpose. We have borrowed the idea of pedagogistas from the Reggio Emilia approach, so you'll notice some folks in the room roaming around to help you. They might be helping you to make connections, to define wonderings, or to get into that meta space about your own classroom practice. They'll take us a little deeper in our thinking and be cognitive partners with us in our learning. Change is a funny thing. Some of you will love the adventure, and some of you will be feeling a little fearful.
So let's go. Hang on tight, learn lots, and have fun.